Good morning, everybody. On a special The Deuce is Loose episode of Coffee.
I'm back.
He's back. Let's give everybody a moment to pop in and see us. Let me rally the troops and tell them live. Actually, Discord just did that for me. Love Discord, man. When you actually create an event in Discord with the time and date, as soon as it starts, it's a big notification at the top of the server. Event is live, and bam, click the link. You're here. Technology has made my life simple. So I see you're wearing a version of Doom shirt with Ash from the Evil Dead.
Exactly. My boomstick, baby.
So it is a hell of a mashup. I remember the original when Doom came out on PC, man. That was pretty awesome. Doom and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, my kid was working at a video game store, and I walked in and saw this, and it's like, I gotta have that. That's the best.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that version before. It's pretty cool. Did I assume you being a horror guy, you watched the Ash versus Evil Dead TV show?
I didn't. I've seen a couple.
I loved it, man. It's so corny.
Yeah, whatever station was on, I didn't get.
I think it would come on Stars, but it was so corny. It was so perfect. It was so Ash. No fucks given Ash. All he cared about was women, hot chicks. Didn't care. Every episode, you wonder how he's still alive because he ain't paying that much attention to what's going on. It's perfect. It was a well done TV show.
Yeah, I need to go back and I'm trying to do that. And of course, I've told you before, I've never watched The Sopranos.
Oh my God, I'm back on my binge watch. So I'm on season 3, episode 10 now. Two or 3 weeks ago, I decided that I'm going to do a full playback of it all. And honestly, I don't know where I was. It's like I've never seen it before. It's like there's so much I catch now and so much I see. It's like, holy shit. Because everybody I see, I'm like, man, you got to watch Sopranos. You got to watch Boardwalk Empire. I mean, it's all these TV shows I list, but Sopranos to me is like one of the best TV shows ever. It's a must watch. Yeah, and you're I can't believe you haven't watched it. You're horrible. You're horrible friend.
Terrible.
Man, I'm telling you, you're gonna be hooked. I'll tell you what I tried. I attempted the other day. I was like, you know what? Let's go old school. I want to watch all the Godfathers again. Started Godfather 1, got an hour in it, and I'm like, I got to turn this shit off. It's like, I don't even think I can make it through Godfather 1 to get to the best one, in my opinion, Godfather 2. I mean, Godfather 1 starts out at the wedding of his daughter, and it's 1 hour of wedding scenes, and nothing's going on. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
They're building the characters.
It doesn't take that long to build a character. Well, I mean, it does and it doesn't. Normally, your TV shows do take about 4 or 5 episodes in to give you kind of a look. John, I agree. Boardwalk Empire, being Prohibition era, was great. You should have a comments box, Deuce, where you can see the comments live as we go if you're on PC.
I do not. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's normally to the right of the screen. There's a comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, on PC, there is definitely a way you can view comments that pop up.
Okay.
Are you in full screen mode?
I'm in full screen. Look at the settings.
What's up, Mario? We're trying to get Deuce to see his comments. He's acting like he'd never used this program before.
Well, I had wondered about it, and I thought if somebody started, it would pop up. But
no, I think you got I got to manually go to mine and click. Hang on, I'm gonna Google how to do this. I know it's there because Oki and them use it on our lives too.
Yeah, well, I've used it before. Okay.
you find it?
Yeah, we were over on private chat. Which
Oh, yeah, you had to change the chat over to comments. Yeah, you were in chat. Yeah, I told you it was there.
There we go.
Yeah, Boardwalk Empire was one of my all-time favorites too. I love that whole era. I mean, shit, that was pretty much mafia too. I mean, that was Atlantic City and all that. But yeah, HBO. I mean, it even started with Deadwood. I love Deadwood TV show. Have you watched Boardwalk Empire? You didn't watch Sopranos? Man, you've missed some good mob-related shows, and you're the mob guy like me.
Pinky Blinders, haven't watched it yet.
You're get off, get done. I'm glad you moved. Okay, get done.
But HBO had.
What's up, Bruce?
Had the corner on all of those at the time, and I didn't have HBO.
Yeah.
And so now I've got a program where you can go back and you can watch anything.
Yeah, you get HBO Max now and you watch everything, all the old stuff. Bruce, I have not watched The Wire, so you get me there. But Peaky Blinders, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, hurry up. Now that all the seasons are done, bring the movie, let's finish it up. But don't take 10 years like HBO did with Deadwood. We didn't get the Deadwood movie till 10 years later, but it was kind of cool to catch up 10 years of where the characters are now. Monte Cristo White Series. Good deal, John. I am smoking a Big Sky Yellowstone today, Connecticut, with some Cinnabon coffee.
And I have Illusion Cruzado. If you know me, you know that's one of my favorites. But obviously you don't know me very well.
Yeah, nobody's seen him. They're like, who's this fucking Deuce guy? This is the first guy to be patched in live, and it happened in New Orleans many years ago. The first New Orleans event was such a hit, it was only 3 of us down there, but the following year was upwards to 100. So yeah, that's how big it grew.
We shut that.
I hear that, Rich. I got to watch The Wire. I still haven't watched what's the one the character Walter, the Meth Labs, Breaking Bad. I still haven't watched Breaking Bad either. George says, who's that dude? Looks familiar but uglier. Yep. The Deuce is loose.
George,
Morning,
I think he's uglier because he trimmed his beard.
He got the mange up there in Carolinas and had the weather froze off some of his beard. So he had to cut it. How you doing this morning, George? What you got lit up? Daniel Marshall Robusto. I have no idea what that one is, Bruce. That's a different one.
That's a new one for me.
Oh, I forgot you got patched in live, John. Yeah, Deuce here was the first ever patched in live, and actually also gave his 50 patch live at a golf outing before he moved. So he managed to get his regular barrel burners and his mafia patch live in person by moi. A gem. So you found it at Corona Cigars. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Daniel Marshall Cigars. Ah, that sucks, George. Well, you had a good day smoking yesterday. I seen all your Facebook posts, so you had a good day. Yeah, I remember that day we played golf and we came back and we had to freaking sit here and fix the good whiskey and smoke the good cigars and watch the Al Capone movie that came out with
Al Capone. With you had Cubans. You'd got to.
Yeah, we smoked Cubans for that. That was the Al Capone movie with Bane. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was Al Capone, and I'm gonna tell you guys, if you're looking for a mobster movie with a lot of action and killing, that was not the movie. It was more historically correct of the last few years of Al Capone's life when he was supposedly losing his mind and living on the FBI dollars in the FBI house, and everybody was questioning him about the $10 million and trying to find his buried money. So it was cool to kind of see that aspect of Al Capone, but yeah.
Good times.
A lot of golf played before he moved. Man, I forgot how good this Yellowstone was. I've been out of them forever, and I ordered a few 5-packs of all the different varieties the other day. Yes, John, that's about his dementia, supposed dementia.
From syphilis.
Yeah, from syphilis. But yeah, he was living in the damn FBI house in Florida, big ass mansion, and just ordering different statues every day and shit. Living basically off the government. They're like, hey, we owe you for Bay of Pigs. Here we go. Live in our house. That's sad, though, that the family changed the name after his death. None of them wanted to be associated anymore. Oh, Tom did a great job, man. I'm surprised. He was like in that character.
He did a superb job.
I like when he come out with that fucking Tommy gun, just started lighting up at the workers.
Everything.
Yeah, it's a great movie, man. We need some new mafia movies, definitely. I Paint Houses, it was a must. You got to watch that. Well, it wasn't called that on Netflix, was it? The books I Paint Houses. Netflix was.
I don't remember what it was on Netflix, but the book. I mean,
the book's the best book I've ever read in my life, man.
Yeah, if you're into mafia stuff, you've got to read that book, because even though the movie does it a good justice, there's so much more in that book that just makes you shake your head and you're like, oh my god.
And it's just mind blowing to know this has all happened, and this is all the government was involved in, and this and that. And if you do buy the book, make sure you buy the new version that has the Netflix symbol on the front, because there's 2 additional chapters that wasn't in the first release, where a few more details are given because of the death of other family members. Departed was a very good movie.
Great
Departed,
movie.
yes. I'll go old school with you, man. One of the first mafia style movies, New Jack City. Come on. That was such a good movie. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch all the Godfathers again. I'm gonna hit Goodfellas. I'm gonna hit Casino, because Casino was one of my favorite movies when I was younger. I remember that, man. It came on 2 VHS tapes back in the day. I got it as a gift, and it was 2 VHS. Hey, that's how long of a movie this is. 2 VHSs. It's like, you can't put this on one. You got to give me 2.
I remember the first time I saw Scarface. And it was, I think it was on HBO then. We're talking early 80s. But they had like a 15-minute break in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Because it's so long.
Yeah.
They're like, go here. We're stopping it for a few minutes. Go get your breath.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, and I don't remember it being near as long as
it doesn't seem that long
one
anymore.
of the others. Yeah,
maybe they just needed it after the chainsaw scene.
That's the one that sticks out in the bathroom in the shower stall where he comes in there to his hotel or house or whatever. Yeah, that one. That definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's
that's just one that doesn't go away easily.
So I just started a new mafia book. It's thick, man. It's almost like that Five Families book.
Oh yeah, man. Good Lord.
It's the Elliot Ness and the Untouchables. The whole book is about Elliot Ness bringing down Al Capone. So it's just, that whole book's just, they're back and forth.
So after you finish that one, there's one that I'm reading, The Devil in the... No, that's a different book. I'll have to get the book and do it, but it's about Elliot Ness after he catches them, and he goes to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And at that time, Cleveland was going through what they called the torso murders.
The steamer. They were going through the steamer.
And they had somebody out there, just chopping people up and leaving them. And so Ness goes and becomes like their city manager, city person to help try to solve these.
Wow, that kind of sounds like those murders around that time in California. What was it, the Black Dahlia, where they would just find body parts laying around? Yeah.
This one, many, 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 many bodies. And I'd
Yeah,
seen
I'd
it
like,
on a couple.
I'd like to read it. I still haven't read the Five Families books because I'm just so intimidated by all them pages.
I started it, and it's just like, this is huge.
I know.
Now
So
it's
I
packed.
started the Elliot Ness Capone book 3 weeks ago, and I'm 2 chapters in. So that's how intimidated I am about it too. And it started out all the background of Al's upbringing. When he was a teenager and he's running the streets, his first gang he started to protect women walking home down the streets because they were getting heckled. So, and then Lucky Luciano like moves him, and then the rest is history. He comes into him, but it tells about how he got the scar on his face. You know how he got the scar on his face?
Mm-mm.
And that's why they call him Scarface, and he hates it. So he told a woman she had a nice ass, and she cut him in the streets.
You know what? Don't they bring that out in
What's up, Pete?
The I Paint Houses movie?
I think so. But yeah, I forgot all about it. And then when I read the book, it was telling all about the scar. And like I said, it started with him when he was a kid, and it went on. It gave like everything that he went through. And I was like, oh, crap. Okay. So he got cut by a woman. It ain't even a bar fight. It ain't a man. It ain't nothing bad. And yeah, you're Scarface. So,
I think most guys would say you're pretty hella tough if a bitch comes after. I'm sorry, if a lady comes after you. I just got kicked off YouTube.
Yeah.
With the switchblade and slashes your face. I mean, that's
but how bad is the woman to be carrying a switchblade?
Yeah.
So where are you at hitting on these women? It may have been a brothel. Who knows? Good morning, Pete. Rich, the Los Calaveras 2022 was good. I did enjoy it better than the 21. What's up, Keith from California?
What's up, Pete?
Yeah. With the Deuce is loose this morning, guys. I was like, come hang out. Let's smoke a cigar. But yeah, any of you guys in here, you gotta read the I Paint Houses book. I mean, it's mind blowing. You'll finally get to know who killed John F. Kennedy if you want to know.
Yeah, and again, that's something that's super hard to touch for the movie.
Yeah.
So I understand why they completely cut that out, but in the book,
well, they didn't cut out the gun delivery part, did they? In the movie,
they don't say what it was for.
Right. It just fast forwards to the death after the gun. I have never seen Hoodlum, John. Oh, no problem, Pete. Glad you stopped by. It's just the whole thing that get me about reading the book was the mafia mentality of what weapon to use. Well, if I use this weapon, it's louder than the other. I got so many minutes before the cops would get there, so I'm going to use a small one. And the whole thing was drop me off at the door, make the block. If I ain't back out from killing the guy, something went wrong, keep going. I mean, everything was down to a science, a time, a window.
And for me, when I read that, and I had seen the end of The Sopranos because it was so highly talked about.
The black screen scene.
So when you read that one little bit about how scientific it was for them to make a hit in a restaurant.
Yes, The Irishman, Pete. Thank you. I could not remember.
Irishman.
We're talking about the book. The book, I Paint Houses, is 150% better than the movie. The best book I've ever read. True story. You know where by the time you finish this book, you know who killed John F. Kennedy. You know where Hoffa was. You know where Hoffa was killed at, and you know where Hoffa was taken after he was killed. All in this one book.
Yeah, it's great. But to me, that one scene in the book where it talks about that and breaks it down.
Where all the guns are laid out on the bed, and he's like, yeah.
But it explains, because if you go back and watch The Sopranos, the shooter goes in the bathroom. And that's one of the first things they talk about in that section is you check the bathroom to make sure there's no bigger guys in there. And then you come out and take your shot and leave.
Irishman is not based off the book, Peter. Irishman was the book. It was true to the book. They just left out a few things out of the movie, but it was true to the book. There was nothing that was off from the book. One good thing the movie did you don't feel in the book is the scene when they are driving him,
Yeah.
knowing he's got to kill his best friend. You
Yeah.
see the emotion, you see where he's torn in the character. In the book, you don't get that. You just get, oh shit, you got to kill your best friend or you're going to get killed for not killing him. So that's the Robert. What's up, man? Thanks for dropping by. A new prospect, Robert, in the house.
Right, Robert.
This morning.
Yeah, the only thing they didn't do right with the movie is what was The Irishman was like 6'4",
Yeah.
270.
And
I
you
mean,
use a 5'5" guy that's been in every mafia movie ever.
yeah, I think he's 5'5" if he wears platforms.
Dude, this guy was the only non-Italian to ever be in the circle, ever be given a ring. Ed Sheeran. The one thing that kind of gives you his mindset is how many days he was in active war. They give you the stat at the front of the book where most people seen active war where they were being shot at like 25 to 35 days. This dude was several hundred days straight of being in active battle. And he's talking about how they would just take cars, women, whatever they wanted when they were over there. They just basically roaming the streets like hoodlums, taking what they want.
Yeah.
No, Peter, the guy in the book was a big dude. We're talking about the guy they casted to play him in the movie was no big dude. He's like 5'5".
That's the only thing. That's the only thing I didn't like. And De Niro played the part incredible, but I could think of a couple other people who came closer to being Irish than De Niro. But when he's working on his truck,
they could have got Stallone.
Like when he's working on his truck, I'm like, how many milk crates is he standing on to get up high enough to look in the engine compartment of that truck?
Yeah, it's crazy. They tried to make that movie 10 years prior to when it finally happened, and then it fell dead, and they finally got it going up. The book re-release kind of helped fuel the fire again. It's such a great movie, man.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
The movie on Netflix is like 3 hours long, and then they have a special where they're all sitting down talking about the movie as well. Which I haven't watched yet, but it's in my queue. But yeah, if you're into mafia and you're into true stories, The Irishman Netflix exclusive, where it's at. Buy the book, buy the newer version that has Netflix movie on the front. So the guy told the story. He told what's happened. Irishman was not too long, man. They had to get a lot in.
Yeah.
So
it was. It's
a good sized book too. And so
they could have made a mini series out of The Irishman.
Yeah, you could have made a TV show, a 10 episodes show, and still probably miss some things. But the way when he wrote the book, he made a deal. So there was promises to the mafia families and stuff that he would not mention any of these stories or any of these names to either the wives or the kids were dead. It was certain circumstances for different people. So when the book was re-released, it was added 2 new chapters at the back of the book because now certain people had died and it allowed him to tell more of the story. So there was promises made to some of these mob figures that, okay, I will never say nothing until your wife passes away so it doesn't make you look bad or your kid look bad. So certain people had to die before the last 2 chapters of the book could be told. In those 2 chapters, a lot is said in 2 chapters.
A lot, and I thought it was interesting that it was the wives more than anything that they were really protecting.
And the wives know they were married to mobsters, but it's like, how bad of a man are you that I had to wait for you to die, your wife to die, before I can tell some of the things we did together?
Okay, so this is the book I've been reading.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how many pages. I guess I could go.
Of course, you've got it right over there on the shelf.
I got a whole mafia book section. All right, so I'm gonna bring a whole stack of my mafia books over here, and we're gonna go over a few things. First of all, if you're a Sopranos fan, you have to go to YouTube and you have to watch the Talking Sopranos podcast. It's amazing. So what they did during COVID, two of the actors from Sopranos did a weekly podcast where they went over each episode. So there's like 80 something of this podcast. So they go over every episode. They bring it down. They have guests on the show. So they also put it in book form too. Woke up this morning. So you got to have it for your book collection. This is another one on my list. I got like 4 books I got to read, but the Cigar City and Mafia. This is Tampa, Florida, guys. Any Mafia fan?
City.
True story. Cigar City Mafia. And I go to Books A Million. I'm a sucker because if you go to the sales section, they normally got crap nobody's buying, and you find gems like this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, it ties to this book, The Mafia Murders, 100 Kills That Changed the Mob.
Wow.
And then you got the gangster women involved. But this is what you're looking for, guys. I paint houses. You want this circle on there so you get the last 2 chapters, and you are 400 pages deep in this one. And then just because it was on clearance, and you got to have it, the original Godfather book.
For Christmas several years ago, Amy got me Francis Ford Coppola's book, and it shows he basically took the book, tore out the pages, and it's copies of the book page and his notes on how to shoot it as you go through.
Oh wow.
It's a very cool, it's definitely something you need.
And guys, you heard us earlier talking about the book that intimidates me. This is The 5 Families. This is how thick this book is. This is why this book intimidates me.
What is that, like 600 pages?
Oh, God, no. This is 800 pages.
800 pages. Damn.
So I have not started this yet because I'm intimidated, but I will read it. I promise you.
That's kind of like me. I was gonna make sure I read it and bought it, and it's super thick. And I think I got a third of the way through. And it's like, I just can't do this.
Yeah, so I got a whole display over here. I got these Mafia books on display. I got a big Sopranos matted poster. Got Sopranos Monopoly game. I got the Cigar Aficionado that's got the Sopranos on the front. So it's like my little Mafia Nook book section. So, yeah, it's close to 1,000 pages. That is the 5 Families mob book, Robert. That's it's huge, man. It's one of my to-do lists. Like I said, I've read probably half of these. So, Killer Angels, Gettysburg. Okay. Oh, and what you were talking about that book with his notes. So,
yeah,
one of my exes bought me the coolest book about 15 years ago. So, what it is, it's a Kurt Cobain book. But what it is, it looks like a notebook. So, it's basically Xerox copies of all of his notes from all of his notebooks. From the original letter that he wrote to publishing companies to get deals, the twisted shit and notes. I mean, there's just scribble scratch on every page, but it's basically page for page carbon copy of his notebook and thrown in a book together. His drawings, little devils here. I mean, it's to see what was in that dude's mind. It's crazy. It's one of my favorite books ever. I keep it at my office. I'm like, man, you need inspiration. You look through this book.
Does it say on there the last thing that went through his mind?
Was Courtney pulling the trigger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Birdshot.
You don't do a little books. I like it, man. I have not watched Godfather of Harlem. You know, a new thing come out 2 weeks ago where one of the guys said there was no way possible Kurt Cobain could kill himself with a shotgun because early reports, and there was so much contamination in the crime scene with people walking anyway, but they said Kurt Cobain killed himself with a shotgun while sitting straight up. Anybody that knows a shotgun knows that if I'm sitting on my butt and I put the shotgun on the ground, the barrel is going to be way past my head. There's no physical way to sit up and shoot myself with a shotgun.
They also say the last 2 lines of his suicide note aren't in his handwriting.
Correct. And that come out again this week. They're like,
Yeah, yeah, I read all of that, and
yeah, it's like he didn't even write the last part of the suicide note. It's whole different handwriting. It's like,
and this guy is trying to get Courtney to
do a lie detector test.
lie detector. He said, "I'll pay for it. I'll bring you in. Whatever. Let's just."
Well, they said that Kurt Cobain was wanting a divorce at that time. If he would divorce Courtney, she would get nothing. If Kurt dies, she gets everything.
Yeah. When that came out, and I had never heard that before this week. When that came out, I'm like, ooh. And it's just interesting that someone of that age had a prenup.
Yeah.
That blocked that.
Well, he always thought he was going to hit big. Like if you read these the notebooks I got, I mean, before the letters he was sending out and the CDs he was sending to everybody, I mean, this guy knew at some point he was going to be something. And
welcome. If you're joining us now, we are having theorized conversations on conspiracy theories. So join us each week for Burner Conspiracies.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man. I'd do that. Burner Mafia trivia every Sunday morning. You get me talking on Mafia and history and JFK and the Bermuda Triangle, Amelia Earhart, Curse of Oak Island. Give me some history stuff, and I will talk all day with you. Give me something that happened in history, and we will go with that. Juicy. John says juicy. Yeah, you would have to be Shaq to sit on your ass unless you got a sawed-off shotgun, and this was not a sawed-off shotgun in this case. I mean, this was one of those things from the time it happened. Everybody knew Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself, but
yeah, the things that I've read basically all state that.
If you think Kurt Cobain killed himself, you also think O.J. Simpson had nothing to do with the murders.
We all know O.J. was innocent.
Yeah, a glove will not fit if you have your fist balled up.
Or you're not taking your arthritis medicine.
Fit, you must have quit. I tell you, if you've ever Googled those crime scene photos, you know whoever did that had hatred.
Beyond anger.
Beyond anger to almost completely sever somebody's head off.
Blind rage.
Yeah, that's just not a murder. That was a target. You were targeted. You knew what you were going to do. The blood prints in and out where they walk. I mean, come on. That's straight anger. I always love the fact that you can lose the court case, but turn around and be sued for wrongful death and pay your fortune. You're basically saying you're guilty without jail time. Here, give us all your money for killing our daughter.
Yeah.
You're found guilty of that, but you're not found guilty of murder. So are you back on the Oak Island trip with me, man, or you gave up on it again?
Oh, I've never given up, man. I'm there every week.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, if anybody has ever watched The Curse of Oak Island and you quit, let's say 2 seasons ago, you better turn it back on and catch up.
Yeah, because it's all starting to happen.
Dude, when you got
gold in the water, gold in the wood.
Gold in the water, gold in the wood, and as they go deeper, the gold count gets higher. Dude, that's scientific data. You're tracking it. I want to know the whole road system. I'm still infatuated by why are these roads here?
I'm almost removed from them finding gold treasure. Okay, whatever. You'll find it, great. Tell me what happened.
It's like that new little wall they're digging up that looks like a depositor wall with that tree in it that dated like 600-700 years ago, that that wall's that old, and there's nobody was supposed to be on this island in these time periods.
The well that
the new well they're digging up.
They were able to put data in to what?
Yeah.
Late 1100s.
Yeah, I'm like you, man. I'm like, okay, if you never find gold, you found enough on that island. I'm intrigued. Tell me why this whole massive road system is through here.
And I think it's very interesting that it all ends up being Portugal.
Yeah.
because
Templar?
in the beginning I really thought it would be France or Scotland, but everything coming back as Portugal, I'm like, well, you know what, that makes sense, because who gave the money to Columbus?
Yeah.
The King and Queen of Portugal. And so there always been this theory that people had already gone over there and had come back, and possibly he knew that there was treasure at this new world and was trying to find its way over.
Right.
He chose the Caribbean instead of Nova Scotia.
I don't think they really chose anywhere. They just come across land and go, "We're
Go!
here. Let's name it something."
Yeah, we're here. It's mine.
Yeah, the crap they're finding, man, that dates back. It's like the brooch they found with like the snakes or whatever wrapped around it, the encrusted. It's just,
Dude, when they cleaned that up and you could still see the carved parts of the leaves on that, I'm like,
nothing was supposed to be there. Nothing. And then they did. Did you watch any of the Beyond Oak Island where they go help other people treasure hunt?
I've seen most of those. I would kind of cherry pick them to find ones I was really.
Dude, the pirate ship ones where you actually watch them bring gold up on a few of the episodes where they find the old pirate ships. It's crazy. Yo, Cigar Brad. Good morning, brother. If you just popping in, guys, Big Sky Yellowstone for me. The Deuce is smoking a Illusion
Cruzado. Where'd my?
He can find his webcam. There you go. Yeah. Fat guy in a little coat. Yeah, we're just spewing bullshit. Movies, TV, history. I hate mystery, so I want to know everything. I want to know where Amelia's at. I want to know the Bermuda Triangle. I want to know it all.
D.B. Cooper.
Oh, D.B. Cooper, man. I don't think he survived the jump.
So I do. And there's a guy.
And he couldn't be living off of that money anymore. That wasn't that much money.
You know, that in those days would have been about $1 million.
But that's in those days. We're no longer in those days.
Yeah, but he would probably dead. I mean, that was 50-something years ago, and they say he was 40. So you would expect that he would be dead. And think about this. You know how easy it was to bleach and reprint money in the 70s?
Well, you know how easy it was to change your identity back then, too.
Yeah. So. I mean, hell, he bought a plane ticket with cash.
Yeah.
But there's a guy who he's actually suing the FBI right now because he had done some individual work, and a company had vacuumed the front of the tie to try to pull off DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to get enough of a DNA sample off of it to exclude this one guy that the FBI really thought had done it.
Right.
And so now he's suing the FBI because he knows that they still have the tie. The FBI probably has the DNA profile.
Right.
And the DNA profile that he wants is because it was a clip-on from underneath. And if anybody's ever wore a clip-on, you know how that thing just scrapes your neck constantly. So with today's technology of being able to put DNA out in Ancestry, just one hit and we'll know who it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, change your identity or not. If you ever did blood work, if you ever had surgery, anything, even whether you're dead or not, I mean, they at least know who you are. See if you survive. But yeah, that was an intriguing story, man. Robbed the plane, parachute out. Didn't they say they found like maybe he possibly landed some money or the parachute or something?
In 1980, they found like $2,000 in 20s that had been buried.
Yeah.
And most times the stories just say people think it washed ashore.
Right.
But the people that were there were like, no, they were actually stacked in. And so there's a possibility, that he landed in that area. There's a possibility that, I don't know, it fell out of his knapsack. And there's talk that they've actually had bills in circulation. So if he didn't survive,
somebody grabbed the money and ran.
He would have had to have had a driver, somebody to, once he got out, to find him, pick him up, and take him.
Yeah, but in that day, could they? I mean, it's like you don't even know where he's going to land. You don't even know what state he'll end up in. I mean, you're in the air. You don't know how long it's going to take you to actually rob and jump. They didn't really have the GPS tracking individual units like a person could have. So how would anybody even know where he's going to be? If you don't survive that fall, even your people helping you would never know. But yeah, that's definitely one of those mysteries.
Yeah, the two that have always been big on is DB Cooper and Zodiac.
Later, John. Zodiac Killer?
Yeah.
That's what you said? Yeah. Man, I watched I get on these rabbit holes on TikTok, man, of watching these videos, and my algorithms kind of learn me now and it knows what I want to see. So it's history stuff, it's Pawn Stars, all these big purchases. But one popped in the other day. It was an interview from prison of Charles Manson.
Is it the one from
I think it was a
TV or 89?
Yeah, he was like, I've pretty much been in prison my whole life. It's like, I'm not sorry. And it's like, I couldn't survive outside, even if y'all let me out today. This jail's all I know. He's like, I don't fear nobody. I don't fear death. He goes, I fear living more than death. He's like, I don't fear death. It's like, bring it on. I mean, but to hear the guy speak in the words he used, this was an educated guy.
Yeah.
This was no idiot. I mean, he's using words I still don't know today. I'm like, this dude is fluent.
Yes, he for whatever reason, he was quite learned, and he you hear him talk, and it's just like, that line between genius and crazy.
Yeah.
And that sucker square danced.
Well, genius sometimes drives people to crazy. They're so smart, they go crazy.
I mean, he was smart enough that, as far as we know, he committed no murders.
Yeah, this dude was talking like a college professor, man. I mean, he's composed the whole time. Nothing's rattling him, and he's like telling guy, "You're trying to play me. You're trying to upset me. I mean, I'm not going to feed into that." I mean, It's like,
I mean, anybody that has the charisma that can start a cult.
Yeah.
They have something. People were drawn to him.
Yeah, that was what was that? That was Hollywood Murders, didn't he? He killed the actress and and all the people at that party?
Yeah. Yeah, because the person who actually owned the house was a music producer, and they were looking for him. Because if you don't know, he was a musician. He wrote a song. The Beach Boys stole the song.
Yeah.
He wanted his rights, and they never gave it to him.
He was a young man. He was like 18, 19 years old when he does these murders. So he literally was in prison his whole life.
Yeah, they blackballed him and drove him out of the music industry, and he blamed this one manager. And no, that was the Tate LaBianca killings.
Yeah.
But the other ones.
Yeah, the Tate. Yeah. Sharon Tate, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I was a little young for the Manson one, but the one cult one I remember and I watched fucking go down live on TV was Waco. David Koresh had them drinking all the Kool-Aid. They mass suicide. They drank the Kool-Aid as the ATF was busting the doors down, and everybody did. I remember watching that live. We would watch shit like that live at school. Being an 80s and 90s kid, we were not blindfolded like the kids today. We watched the OJ trial in school. We watched the verdict. We watched the Waco happen live. I mean, that's what you did.
Oklahoma City bombing.
Yep.
Jim Jones,
Robert, he was very smart. This guy was no fool at all.
Jim Jones, Guyana, when he killed all his... Yeah, that's one of the...
when the royal family killed Diana, and they'll probably have this video removed off of YouTube
Yeah,
as I said
yeah.
it. Well, I wasn't in school no more on 9/11. I was already graduated, but I watched it happen, and I was actually managing a sports store outside of our military base, and we had to close that day because they pretty much were on lockdown by that base. They had all the Army bases on lockdown, so I couldn't even get to work that day. But I woke up, the first plane had already hit. I watched the second plane live as it hit. So that's a day I definitely will never forget.
Yeah. So, since we're on conspiracy theories, have you watched MH370 on Netflix yet?
Is that the missing plane that they
Yeah.
found pieces of since then? I have not watched the series, but I'm familiar with the plane going missing. And then
You
they
need to
found
watch.
4 or 5 years ago, they found some plane parts washed up somewhere.
So, all I'll say is this: if you haven't watched it, one guy has found 90% of that. What's the odds of one guy
Finding all that?
just going and
Because he's the only one that cares? Dude, that was a mystery for like 10 years. The plane just went missing.
it's been 9 years. They still don't have a clue.
Yeah, they don't know why it went down, what happened.
So it's I think a 3-part series, and it goes through everything.
So,
in the
speaking
end,
of planes go down, there's a new movie coming out that's actually based on a true story here in Louisiana, where the guy was flying home on a small private jet with his wife and kid, and his buddy was flying and died in the cockpit in the air. And this guy that never flown a plane before has to land the plane to save him and his family's life. And it's a true story. It happened here. Dennis Quaid is actually the playing the Louisiana guy, the star of the movie. So they're basically, and it's older planes. So everybody at the tower, nobody knows how to land this plane. So they're searching frantically for somebody that knows this type of plane. And they're trying to tell this guy who knows nothing about all these buttons in a plane how to land this damn plane and save their lives.
Yeah.
So crazy. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I told my nephew who's getting his pilot's license. He's going to be a commercial pilot. I said, if I ever text you 911, call me. That means I'm in a plane and it's going down, and I need to know how to fly it.
Well, and this is why most planes have two pilots. I mean, big planes always have 2 pilots now, but these little private planes, I guess there's no rules that say you have to have 2 pilots on board. But
and if you've ever been in one of those small jumpers, the one we took from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Vieques, I was sitting in a jump seat, and I could watch the pilot.
Yeah,
and he did as much with his knees and stuff with the flaps. I'm like, well, I'm a drummer. I think I could figure all that out.
No, that's like when we drive and we're eating food and we use our knees to drive the car. You ever use the knees on the steering wheel? That's what he's doing. I couldn't imagine, man. I couldn't imagine. I mean, this guy is literally in the air and he's talking to radio control, and then just massive heart attack and dies right there while he's in the air giving him his coordinates. And the guy's like, yo, what's up? And then he's trying to get his wife to come up there and help with the plane, but the guy's dead in the seat, and it's such a small plane. They go to move him, and he's hitting controls, and they're nose diving. It's like
they call it a cockpit for a reason. I mean, you are in it.
Yeah,
it is full.
That's crazy. Bermuda Triangle, man. It's like that's another one.
You know that.
Is it real? Is it a myth? I mean, supposedly a lot of people, it's documented, went missing in this area, but could it just been bad weather? Is there some magnetical pull? I mean, what is it? You think we would know?
There's some scientific anomalies that are there, because it is still one of the biggest shipping routes in the world.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's tons of ships that go through there, and in the 70s and 80s, man, that's all you heard about.
I would just chalk it up to a bad storm.
Yeah. So, they talk about, electrical occurrences that can mess with your readouts, and they talk about the methane bubbles that can actually come up. And if one's big enough, that it would shoot up in the air and it could take down a plane.
It was a kraken.
A
megalodon, because according to teeth found recently that the year they're saying megalodons died, is thousands of years off, and there could still be megalodons deep hiding. I watched a thing on that yesterday. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Interesting. Gotta plug myself in here real quick.
You good? We'll go about 10 more minutes. I'll let you get to your life, man. Yeah, Robert, it's definitely interesting. I definitely want to watch that, especially being, I mean, I'm in Louisiana, so anytime something comes out about the state, I want to watch. But
what was the Tom Cruise movie where he was flying drugs out of Colombia because he would drop it?
Dude, that dude just got out of jail recently and started telling his story.
Yeah, he would drop his stuff in the marshes.
Dude, I forgot his name. I follow him. He actually got out of prison within the last year or so. He has a TikTok, and he does nothing but stories and confessionals about his life on the TikTok. So this dude, he owned, I forgot how many planes, and he's showing some of his collection he has left that wasn't seized, but yeah, he was running all these drugs for everybody. He was like the guy. People didn't even know him. They needed drugs brought in. They were calling him in his plane. And he talked about how many millions of dollars he made for these guys and how he wouldn't rat none of them out when he finally got caught. And yeah, so that's a true story too. So that one's I haven't watched the movie, but I'm fascinated with his TikTok, man.
Well, there's one scene that's my favorite. His plane starts having troubles, and he ends up landing it on a city street in somebody's yard.
Yes.
And he pulls out like $1,000 and hands this kid and takes his bike. He goes, "I really need to buy your bike right now."
Yeah.
And he rides off on this little dirt bike.
Yeah, he would just leave. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like that, and that's one of them ones you hear the story and you're like, this can't be real. This just can't be real. It's too crazy. But then again, I mean, they didn't have the technology to track and find people like now. I mean, now you're pinged on every tower you're on. Even burner phones can be traced. I mean, it's like
and he
was depending on how you buy the burner. There's a paper trail. It's ridiculous.
He was at least smart enough. You know, he knew how to fly low.
Yeah.
To to keep out of regular radar. So.
It's so fascinating, man. I could sit there. The other show I watched, I don't know if you watched the Morgan Freeman one that would come on after Oak Island. It was The Greatest Escapes, where they showed the greatest prison escapes ever. The one that got me was the Mexican El Chapo.
El Chapo.
So there's no technology back then, but these engineers, when he got arrested, he goes, "Y'all get me out of here." I mean, it would take them a couple months, but they would tunnel miles underground and were able to bust straight up in his bathroom. They put a GPS like tracking tag in his shoe and he dropped it in like the bathroom, and they were able to ping and go straight up in his bathroom, and he escaped. He escaped like 3 or 4 different prisons. How can you pinpoint that exact spot under all them rocks, under all that ground, and break this guy out? They said he had these guys on payroll, man, these scientists and these architects and all this stuff that just their sole job was to get him out.
I guess guys who do a lot of drilling.
Hey, Gene, good seeing you, man. Dion, what's up, man? You guys popping in. Smoking the Yellowstone Big Sky. We got Louisiana for the Deuce, and we're talking history and conspiracy theories and mafia, man. It's been some good conversations this morning. We went over some books. It's been good. But yeah, it's just that baffles me.
You hear about the 2 guys who just this past week they had tunneled out and were able, I don't remember what state it was in, but they tunneled out and they caught them at the Waffle House. They were on the lam, taken off and decided to stop and eat.
Oh, geez.
Somebody noticed them.
Yeah, there was a few, man. Most people got caught, but there are a few that they were like, just shoot me. I'm not going back. So it was a real cool show. Morgan Freeman hosted Waffle House, man. I'll tell you, I'm going out of the country. You're not going to extradite me if I escape.
I mean, if I was Waffle House, that would be my national slogan, worth breaking out of prison for.
I mean, I can understand I've been in jail a long time, and okay, Oh, a strip club? Oh, man, let's stop real quick. But a Waffle House? I'm not going back to prison for a Waffle House. Mm-mm. Just not going to happen, man. No, sirree. It ain't that good.
So
See you later, Keith.
Do you watch History's Greatest Mysteries?
Sometimes.
I had watched the first season and then kind of forgot about it, and I'm going back and trying to catch up and go through.
But that reminds me, I watched a comedian yesterday. He was actually he was doing a skit in Egypt or somewhere, and he goes, "Y'all a bunch of liars." He said, 500 years ago, y'all built pyramids. No way. He said, the only thing y'all done since then is Egyptian cotton sheets. It's like, no way y'all built pyramids. He's like, the Jews built pyramids. Yeah, he's like, Jews built pyramids, but I'm not saying the Jews built it. They did the contract. He said the Mexicans built the pyramids. He said the Jews had the contract, but the Mexicans built the pyramids. That's another thing. Pyramids.
And
with no machinery like we have now.
Yeah.
Using just their back and knees and pulley systems. Come on, man.
And what's really interesting on it is just the amount of megalithic structures that follow the same line of longitude.
Yeah.
Whatever the horizontal one is.
Right.
And so if you map it out from the pyramids and go all the way through on that same line and come back, there's tons of them.
And they connect. It's like a line. Yeah. And then they have drawings of aliens and UFOs in some of these.
And, the step pyramids all look exactly the same.
Yeah.
They've got some of the same.
And they're perfect.
People. It's nuts.
How can you do that then? We got construction crews that couldn't reproduce that today.
Yeah.
And we have machines and cranes, and it's like Stonehenge. You build this Y, and these rocks came from hundreds of miles across water. So you got these rocks over here just to build this.
I'm working on a book about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to keep me busy reading all these books. I like it.
Yeah.
That's another one that just baffles me. It's like, I don't know. In all the recent UFO sightings.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you this. Whether you believe in UFOs or not, you got to sit back and think. If you think Earth is the only form of life form that ever could exist in any galaxy or any planet, you're delusional. If we can exist, others can exist. It's that simple. There cannot only be one being. I mean, it can't be. If we exist, something else exists out there.
And we don't even know half the stuff about our own world. They just.
It's all hid by the government. I mean, every now and then they'll release some documents, but 75% of the page has a black marker over it.
Yeah.
I mean, but you listen to old testimonies of pilots and all that, where things have zoomed by them faster than they're going. There's objects. There's shit out there. There's no way we're the only life form. You're delusional if you think so. Government from day one has hid stuff. You think your government is telling the truth? Google Bay of Pigs. Back in the day, your government hired the mafia to do the dirty work the government didn't want to be involved in. And then after all the dirty work's done, the government turns on the mafia and wants to start arresting the mafia. So your government has never been honest with you and never will be honest with you.
Yeah, without the mafia's help, World War II would have lasted longer. That's all I'll say.
And I will tell you, and not, spoiler alert, but I'm going to mention this. I'm going to tell you the whole why JFK was murdered. They didn't even want to murder JFK. They wanted to murder JFK's brother.
They wanted Bobby out.
So the mafia wanted to murder Bobby. So here's the thing. JFK got elected by rigged elections the mafia controlled. because JFK's dad told the mafia, if you get our son elected president, we will give you back Cuba. Because at that time, the mafia was ran out of Cuba. All their hotels, casinos, brothels was taken from the mafia. So JFK's dad says, get my son in the office. We will get you Cuba back. Mafia rigs elections. JFK gets in office. Mafia goes to JFK's dad and says, hey, we want Cuba back. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And then all of a sudden, Bobby turns around and starts hammering and going after the mafia. So the mafia was going to go kill Bobby. And then they said, hang on. If we kill Bobby, JFK is going to unleash the hounds on us, and he's going to come after us hard. So why don't we kill JFK, and then Bobby won't have nobody supporting him, and Bobby will go away. So therefore, the mafia kills JFK and not Bobby. Bobby don't have his brother to protect him no more. Bobby fizzles out.
Yeah, LBJ replaces him.
So that's why JFK got murdered when Bobby was the one they wanted. And it all stemmed from a deal JFK's dad made with the mafia to get Cuba back. So your government has been dirty since day one. And that's some stuff you find out if you read the book, I Paint Houses.
Yeah.
Or also, well, they don't touch on the JFK part. So if you watch The Irishman on Netflix, you will not see that JFK part go down. But you will see the delivery of the guns used to kill JFK. But they don't touch on the actual murder. I guess it had been too controversial. So they know Americans don't read books. So they're like, we'll leave the true story in the book. We'll just skip that in the movie because Americans are too lazy to read. And that's what it is. Oh, 100%, Rich, the government brings the drugs in. 100%. Government puts it on the street so they can in turn make money off arresting people and going to court. It's crazy, man. It's corrupt. That's why the whole thing with marijuana. Marijuana is a natural plant just like tobacco is, and I mean, it's made the government money for years.
So during World War II, there was actually a law passed that every farmer, if you're going to produce, you have to produce X amount of hemp. Because
really,
maybe I'm talking. Maybe it was World War I and II. Anyway,
I never knew that. That's interesting.
That's because hemp was used in making ropes.
Right, it was making
all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
So if you were going to be a farmer, if you were going to get farm tax, you had to get X amount of hemp and grow it, and then the government would buy it from you.
Very interesting.
So a lot of these people, they built these nice big hemp farms for that nice government money, and then they're like, you know what, we're going to make it illegal again. Or I guess for the first
in the 80s was the real big push. It's like everything's illegal.
Yeah. And that's interesting. Growing up at that time, there was the whole 3-strike rule.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense until you put it into action and you realize that we've got tons of prisons that are overpopulated because of the 3-strike rule that included your third strike was because you had a joint.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Right.
And so when you turn around and you look at it and you're like, damn, they sold us that one. It passed.
Well, but it's like a cat with 9 lives. You don't use all 8, and then the 9th is something so stupid, and you're like, damn, man.
Yeah.
But you had 2 other tries not to do stupid shit. So it doesn't matter how simple your third offense was. This is the 3rd time you're in trouble. I promise you, growing up, my dad didn't give me 3 chances before I got the hand.
I never even got the chance.
Yeah.
Dad looked at me.
One time you in trouble, and you
Dad look and say, Dad look at me and pop. You had that look in your eye. I don't know what you were thinking, but get over it.
There was times I ain't had to be touched. Dad look at me, and I know what that look was. I'm like, I hope he forgets this by the time we get home. Times are different, man. Times are different. Kids are so soft these days. They're allergic to sun, everything. we live in a society now that thinks the best way to deal with history is hide it. But if you hide history, you can't learn from your mistakes. Yes, some history is depressing. Some history is horrible. But how do you learn not to do that again? You teach and you show.
You want another conspiracy theory from me?
Let's go for it.
Seatbelts. Now, when I was growing up, seatbelts were an option. They were in a car.
They weren't even in the vehicles, most of them.
Yeah, the older ones, they weren't in there.
Yeah,
some of the newer ones, they had them. You never did it. Well, when we started getting aged up enough that we could start making laws, we made laws to pass seatbelts because we were tired of our dad's arm growing 3 foot as he turned around and slapped us in the back seat. It's like, I'm 5 foot away from you. How do you?
Yeah.
Seatbelt stopped the children in the back seat getting the crap knocked out.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the generation we lived in, there was no fucks for human safety. So we had a '69 pickup truck. Let me tell you, no seatbelts. The gas tank is inside the truck behind the seat.
Behind the seats.
So you're smelling gas fumes the whole time. Everybody in your family smoking cigarettes, and the gas tank is in the cab with you.
You can hear it slosh.
Yes. The gas, it's in the truck cab, right against the seat. You smell gas the whole time you're driving, and they're just smoking away. Nobody cared.
My dad had a '65 Chevy with a Casey light bar.
Oh yeah.
And so I would stand up, hold on to that Casey light bar, and we just went everywhere like that. Middle of town.
We rode in the back of the trucks our whole life. I remember one truck my dad got in the '80s when they first started doing the. It was before the '80s, but the sliding back window. Yeah. Dad's ice chest, because we grew up in the country, so fun for you was riding the back roads and drinking. So we would be riding the back roads. Dad's out of beer. He goes, "Hey, crawl through the back window into the back of the truck and get me another beer." So he's driving. You open the sliding door, crawl through the window, get in the back of the truck, get an ice chest, crawl back through, and hand him a beer. All while you're going 50 and 60 miles an hour down the road.
Hence the reason that the sliding windows now are only this wide.
Exactly.
When they were this wide, man.
We would ride into town in back of trucks, 7, 8, 9 years old, going down interstates. Nobody cared. That was the norm.
That was the norm.
And the other thing I was talking to a friend about the other day with all the gun craziness the world's in now, I said, listen, man, it's all how you're brought up. I said, when I grew up, every corner of our house had guns leaning in it. It was before gun safes. Everyone was chambered. Everyone was loaded. We never once picked up a gun and tried to hurt anybody. We knew they were there. They were there for protection. If anybody broke in your house, you could easily grab a gun out of any corner. All loaded. We grew up that way. From diapers on up, there was always guns around. When I was in high school, my truck had a gun rack. Everybody at my high school went to school with their hunting rifles and shotguns on the back window of the truck. Truck stayed unlocked. We went into school. Guns were loaded in our truck the whole time.
And then we'd show them to the teachers.
Yes.
At lunch or after school.
Yes. Guns were with us every day of our life, and we never done stupid shit. It's all how you're taught. And a lot of it today is soft kids that can't take being picked on. We picked on each other. We would be in tears crying, get off the bus, and still meet up and play all evening. We were still friends. We were mean in the 80s and 90s, guys. These kids now cannot even they can't take it. I tell my kid all the time, I was like, man, y'all got to toughen up, man. I told him the other day, I said, son, if you don't toughen up a little bit, the world is going to roll you. I said, you're not going to be able to handle the real world. You come home now because somebody picked on your shoes, and they're picking on your shoes because yours is better than theirs. My kid's wearing Jordans, and they're picking on him because he's got yellow shoe on. I'm like, dude, you're not going to be able to take this world. I mean, if this is bothering you, you got to get thicker skin. I'm like, pick back. He goes, no, but that's mean. I'm like, well, they're going to keep picking on you. Stand up for yourself, put them in their place, go about your business. But, I mean, we were bad. I mean, we treated our friends like shit, and we're still friends at the end of the day. That's just what you did. I mean, you had to be tough to survive. I grew up in a party crowd, man, and I was the only kid, and those adults are so mean to me, man. I give it right back to them. I had to be a heathen to survive. No, we did not have mental health issues. There wasn't a such thing, Rich, as mental health issues. There wasn't a such thing as ADHD. It was called an ass whipping, and you straightened yourself up. I mean, if you were overly hyper or being crazy, we got whipped. You didn't do it again.
Yeah.
Now there's a diagnosis and appeal for everything. Every damn thing comes with appeal now. It's crazy times we live in. How's that stick going? Did you finish it?
Just finished it. Yep.
Yep, I'm nubbing mine, guys. Well, we'll go on another minute or so. I'm going to let Deuce go on. I'm going to go do some yard work. I think I'm going to grill some homemade hamburgers. Oh, man, you would have a fist fight and shake hands when you were done, man. Good fight. Good fight.
Good fight.
I'll get you next time. Yeah, man, it was different times, man. Now you get a kid that gets beat up, and the first thing they think of is shooting and killing the guy because he got beat up. No, man, it's a fucking fight. You're a kid. Take the ass whipping and go about your business. And yeah, it's different, man. And I guess I'm a little rough at times with my kid because I know how I was brought up, and I'm trying to toughen him up. But man, that's a thin line because the kids, they're just so fragile now. I don't know what it is.
You know, I think a lot of it kind of comes to where, yeah, we had a social group of people that we went to school with, that we hang with,
yeah,
that we do stuff with, and I mean, kids today have 1,000 people on Facebook, 2,500 people on Instagram, all these outside influences that you don't know who everybody is. And it's just so easy when you're not face to face.
Well, they're so impressionable. One negative comment will run their day.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I post daily. I get negative comments all the time. And I'm like, thank you for watching, hater. I mean, if you're watching and you're hating, you still watch. Thank you for the view. Thank you. I mean, it's like there are always going to be people hiding behind the keyboard that's going to hate. But if you were face to face, they wouldn't say a damn thing to you. So everybody's big and bad behind the keyboard. So yeah, we definitely live in that world. Oh, nope. I'm fat. No, man, a real man likes a thick woman. Come on with it. We don't want skin and bones. You ain't fat. Call that pleasantly plump, baby.
I'd come home, get off the bus at 8 or 9 years old, and get my little string out, unlock the door.
Yeah.
Go fix myself something to eat. And then half the time, I'd have to.
So you grew up like me, man.
My mom change clothes and ride my bike back to school, so I could go to football practice for a couple of hours.
My kid is about to be 11 this year, and I tried telling him. I said, "Dude, when I was 11, I was push mowing yards for money with no shoes on, with a push mower, no shoes, no care." I said I was cooking my own food. I was washing my own clothes. My mom and dad had split up when I was 10, so nobody was home in the mornings. I had a wind-up alarm clock. At 10 years old, I had to wake myself up, get dressed, and be on the school bus every morning by myself with no supervision. Not once did I play hooky and say, I'm not going today. I did it. I got to school every day on my own.
Yep.
And I can't even trust my kid. I couldn't imagine leaving my kid home by himself at 10 years old right now. They're so far more advanced mentally and book smart, but they're lacking common sense and street smarts that we had at 10 years old because we were forced to do it at 10 years old. My kid wouldn't know what to do. My kid would freak out if he woke up and we wasn't home. He would be that scared. I can't even get my kid to watch a horror movie. They're my favorite genre. I was watching horror movies at 8 years old, like Freddy and Jason, like the bad stuff, the stuff that, I mean, you're seeing nudity and murders and all this stuff you're not supposed to see, but at 8 years old, that was the norm. That was before ratings were on movies. It was like, hey, a movie's out, anybody can watch it. There's no ratings.
Hey, listen, in the 70s, my dad would bring these people in that would show hype videos. You know, what happens if Russia invades us, or what happens if you go to hell. And they would show these films in church. I was like 6 or 7 years old,
scaring the daylights out of you. The world's gonna
The
end.
old people are scared, and I'm going.
You're fascinated by it.
After that, it's just like, I mean, heck, what's a scary movie?
See, I think the difference is we knew real from fake. Kids today, like my kid, he still can't comprehend. He thinks anything he sees on TV that can happen or that's real, or it's like I said, they're so far technology advanced. Like a 3-year-old can work an iPhone better than you or an
Yeah,
iPad. So they're so far. I mean, my kid was in pre-K and learning stuff I didn't learn till like junior high. They book smarts, they've got it. They're smart. But common sense isn't handed out no more. It's like, okay, you need street smarts to survive. You need common sense. Yeah, you can do math problems now. I mean, shit, half of his homework I don't know how to do now when he brings it home. I'm like, I don't know how to do these math equations. I say, I can tell you one thing. In my whole life, I've never had to do one at work. So I don't know why they make you do this crap.
and
But
you work with a lot of numbers.
yeah, my whole life. I mean, I've ran and managed retail stores since I was 18 years old. It's like I've dealt with money my whole life, and not once had I needed to know what a value was of this equation. I don't get it. But then again, you got McDonald's employees that now the menus are all the picture. They just press
Yep.
which one you want, and they still get your order wrong. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's the world. Well, Jimmy the Deuce, I know you got stuff to do, man. I appreciate you coming on today. This was fun. We definitely got to do this more. This some fun stuff.
We'll
So
do it. We'll gonna go work on the book today.
yeah,
Try to get
I
through.
can't
all
wait
the
to get my
edits.
signed copy, man. You
Yep.
remember the small people when that book gets published. I can't wait to read it. What is the one you're getting to the final steps about? What is the subject matter of the book? Can you state anything
Yeah.
about what it's about?
So basically, hometown hero comes home, takes over as sheriff,
Ain't
and
that a Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie, Walking Tall? Ain't that
yeah, yeah. You know,
the premise?
I'm a Buford pusser, but he's, his first year on the job, they have all these multiple murders that happen.
Oh shit! Okay,
So they find 4 campers dead, strung up, and
Jason Voorhees.
the fifth one is missing. So
It's a search.
yeah, so they're searching for this person. Things are happening. They don't know if it's a single individual that killed all of them or is it a serial killer. And so, of course, being a historical guy, I looked up because it's
a lot of inspiration.
It's set in North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay.
And there's been tons of murders and stuff up there.
Yeah.
Some very well-known serial killers have walked the Appalachian Trail killing people. So that's your.
So you did a lot of research.
So I did some. A lot of it just comes from this haunted house I have up here.
Dude, being a horror guy, I mean, you should be able to come up with some stuff. So is this going to be the first book for you that gets to publishing, possibly?
Yes.
So this is the first full-fledged. I'm going to do this.
First full. I've written several short stories, but this will be the first big.
How big of a book we talking?
Probably around 300 pages once I'm done.
So when you get through the steps and to get to the point to get to publishing and different people are reading it, do they give is there like a scoring system where they go, oh my God, this is good, or this is like a 3, you need to do some more work to get it to the level? Is there any kind of like scoring system that goes on with books that let you know this could be a hit or this?
That's what I'm going to work a lot with because my next thing is to get an agent. So once I finish the edits and feel that it's in a good enough package that I can hand off, I'll find an agent and they'll start working me through.
So they'll kind of read it and grade
how do they feel? Where's it going to set in the market? What it goes up against?
Yeah, and then they may have some tweaks. They may say change some character around or do this. Man, I'm excited for you. This journey, you probably 2 years in this process already, huh?
About a year and a half.
You started when you moved. I don't remember you doing it down here yet. I think it started as soon as you moved.
Yeah, I just got to where I wasn't really sleeping, and so this thought hit me one night, and I just got up, and 15,000 words later, it's like, Amy, I started a book.
That's awesome, man.
So
I
now it's
can't.
about 60,000 words.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
even know
awesome, man.
60,000
I'm always
words.
intrigued by good writing. I remember back in high school, I would do the occasional poems. I could pull out a damn good poem. I like kind of writing. I used to do journals. I like the whole write and tell a story, but I was never gung ho enough to even attempt like thousands of words or multiple
Oh,
chapters. I like the short stuff.
me either.
But I'm intrigued. I love telling the story, man. I cannot, like I said, I can't wait to read your book and have it in the collection. But yeah, because that's right up my genre too, man. I just love
think
it.
about when I started writing burner history.
I love it. I almost tagged you in that fucking room the other day, and I'm like, man, I need one more. You got to give me another history.
I need to come up with one more, but
because I left the roll on you and everything. I'm like, I need burner history.
They started off as just kind of little short things.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, a couple of those that are in there, man, they were pages.
They were good. And the last thing you gave me in that damn page is just like stupid jokes. I'm like, no, I need burner history.
I was just trying to get it in there. So,
dude, I'm gonna put you on payroll. I need a weekly burner history. You're on payroll.
We'll have to throw one in there.
Hey, it's 5th year. You got something. You got a 5-year history
5 years.
topic. This is the 5th anniversary.
Yeah.
August will be 5 years as a club. So yeah, we definitely we need to get the history roll. It's hilarious. I go back and read them from time to time. Hanging out with Churchill and walking the streets smoking, man, I laugh.
Churchill, I think, is my favorite.
The Churchill one was amazing.
The one I had most fun with was the wrestling one.
Yeah, the wrestling one was fun.
And that's only about 2/3 of what I had.
Oh.
I had this whole thing about we all end up in jail.
Oh, dude, you should have put it.
It's in various, states.
Hey, it's WrestleMania weekend, so we may go to jail this weekend.
It could happen.
Masters is next weekend. We could be hanging at the Masters for the 5th anniversary. The history of the green jacket turns orange. I love it. All right, Deuce. Well, man, you have a good day. Everybody, thank you for coming. Yeah, and thank you guys. I know we were rambling on, but this is the rambling on I love, man. We covered a lot of topics, and I know James, that's one reason I invited him today, because, I mean, we're like identical twins in the things we like, man. We like horror, we like history, we like mob stuff. So it flows good. He used to be my co-host on everything he did, and then he forgot my name and moved away. But I always love sitting down and shooting the bull with James, because, like I said, we're 1 hour and 22 minutes in, and it don't even feel like it. I figure like I could go at least 8 more hours. But
and that doesn't include the first 30 minutes of
we were 30 minutes beforehand running the shit. So, all right, James, stay put. Everybody have a good day, guys. I'll see you next Sunday. Well, no, that will be no next Sunday, because it is Easter Sunday, and my wife will divorce me if I get out here and try to do a stream next Sunday. So no stream next Sunday. It's Easter, and it's Masters weekend too. So once I finish Easter duties, I will be glued to the TV to see who gets a green jacket. So everybody, y'all have a great day. Talk to you later.